Hey dudes, what's up? We got us a really special video today. We have Fort Dodge Round 3 on MX vs. ATV Legends. You know, Fort Dodge, probably the most famous, best Supercross track from Reflex. But the interesting twist on this is there never even was a Fort Dodge Round 3 on the original Reflex, right? They had Fort Dodge Round 1, Fort Dodge Round 2, okay? But with this Reflex DLC for Legends, they have went ahead and made an entire whole nother track in the Fort Dodge Stadium with the Fort Dodge sort of track designs in mind. Okay, that's basically what we got going on here. Now, this track is insane. I had to make a video on it. You're going to see what I'm talking about here in just a second, but even bigger than that, I just wanted to talk about that overall idea in this video because it's something that I never anticipated. I never thought MX vs. ATV would do something crazy like kind of make a Reflex track, but it's like a whole nother track in a sense, you know what I'm saying? That to me is just badass. Like, I never even quite thought of them doing that, okay? So you can see it's almost kind of like you're going backwards on Fort Dodge Round 2 up to this point. You go up in the stadium. Bro, check this shit out, bro. Oh my God. Bro, we are literally climbing the stands up in here. So you're going to an area that you never even could on the Fort Dodge tracks on Reflex. There's just something so badass about this. Spitzy boy. Woo! That's a pretty gnarly jump coming out of the stadium right there. I've only rode one lap on this track, by the way, boys. So we are literally learning it as we go here. Okay, so then there's this whole area, which is like, kind of like, bro, it's like they have just created a whole nother track up in the stadium area that was never even really a thing with the original Fort Dodge track. That to me is just badass. That to me is just like, bro, this is really thinking outside of the box, you know what I mean? This is really sipping on that tea, you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of them just making Reflex replica tracks, they sort of took it a step further in the sense of like, let's try to go in here and actually do something cool, which is a whole brand new track that is just based off of a Reflex track. And this kind of gets my mind spinning, gets my tea sipping brain turning a little bit here, okay? This starts making me think about what else could you do? Like, could we have some sort of a, you know, like a pine top backwards, a Sandwick backwards, of Sandwick with bigger jumps and roughness and pre-made ruts? I mean, you know, it just really starts making you think about not just about bringing an old Reflex track back, but creating whole new tracks based off of the old MX vs. ATV tracks. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother conversation that you'd be having right there. And I just never even, I guess, thought of it as a possibility until I saw this Fort Dodge Round 3 for MX vs. ATV Legends. And it also makes me think about the idea of, like, just imagine if somehow MX vs. ATV could create some sort of a Reflex Remastered, or you know, like some sort of a way of bringing Reflex back, where imagine being able to ride on a track like this in Reflex, right? So having tracks like a Fort Dodge Round 3 or a Manchester Round 69 or a Stony Point Round 4 or 20, okay? You get the point I'm trying to make here. Like, it's as if they could make a whole nother series of stock tracks. That's a 5, Daddy. They can make a whole nother full-blown Supercross series based off of the stock tracks on Reflex that are pretty much just like the stock tracks, but it's a whole nother set of actual track content in a Reflex Remastered. You know, that's the kind of stuff I start to dream about and think about whenever I see something like a Fort Dodge Round 3 for MX vs. ATV Legends. So, yeah, definitely let me know down in the comments what sort of goofy-ass ideas you have for that. Like, would you want to see like a, you know, a Razorback backwards with pre-made, or like what, you know, what kind of a track would you actually want to see like that, that's based off a Reflex, but it's also like a completely new track in a sense? Like, that to me is just so kick-ass, bro. I don't know, this whole idea, I just had to make a video on it. I think some people may not necessarily realize this about the Reflex Track Pack DLC for Legends, that it actually comes with 2 extra tracks that are not exact replica tracks from Reflex, but they are new tracks that are based off of whatever track in Reflex. They also have one that is sort of based off of like Boxcar, but it's called like Train Yard or some shit. So they have that one, and then Fort Dodge Round 3 with the Reflex Supercross DLC. So they technically have 2 of them in there that were never even in the original, you know, Reflex, but it's based off of the Reflex tracks, right? So yeah, I just want to make a video on this, just kind of show y'all boys. I'm actually playing with a new controller here. My steering's a little, I'm gonna have to adjust some stuff on that. I was playing with a really wore out stick drifty kind of controller beforehand. That's why my whips are looking a little like I'm running Stability 69,000 right now, okay? It definitely feels completely different, but yeah, this is really cool. I mean, I know it's just another track in Legends in a sense, but I don't know, man. There's just something like, to me, I know this may sound crazy and this may be the Reflex boy coming out in me a little bit, but to me, I would rather them just go in there and bring back all of the Reflex replica tracks, literally all of them. I say Reflex replica tracks, I mean bring back all the Reflex tracks, all the Supercross, all the National, you know, and then go in there and make a whole nother pack that's like this right here that is just based off of the Reflex tracks, but it's all new tracks, or you could include it in that. Bro, I would buy that so fast, oh my god. But like, to me, I would rather have that than any other kind of DLC. I think I'm dead here. Woo! I literally would rather have that than any other kind of DLC in this game, personally. Easy there, Spencer boy. Don't knock your head top off, boy. Hey, more truth than your head top, boy. Watch how you speak out my name, you know? Free smoke, smoke. So, yeah. With how good I feel like these Reflex, you know, track remakes were for Legends, I don't know why they don't just go in there and do them all. Go in there and do, you know, Razorback, Manchester, you know, Stone Point, trying to think of everything in the game right now. Isn't there like a, what is it, a damn, trying to think of the stock Reflex Supercross, Kingston, you know, all them bad boys. Of course, they had multiple rounds, you know. Whoa, Spencer boy jumping big out here. So, yeah, definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this whole idea of like a, you know, a whole nother basically Reflex series of tracks based off of the stock track. Like, I just don't think there's anything better you can be doing for an arcade moto game than basing your tracks off of Reflex stock tracks. Of course, we have gotten into more of a era of like pre-made ruts and roughness. The stock tracks on Reflex really didn't have as much of that because it has literally the most god tier best terrain deformation in any dirt bike game, okay? But if you don't have that, if you don't have Reflex's deformation system, bro, I can almost literally like grind down that shit, bro. We're playing skate out here, bro. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, dude. So, yeah. If you don't have the literal best terrain deformation system, you know, you kind of have to have pre-made. But even with like the Reflex custom tracks, like I still love those custom tracks that have the pre-made ruts. like the pro motocross replica tracks and stuff that they really got into making the pre-made ruts. So I just imagine like something that would be so badass is just imagining like all of the stock Reflex motocross tracks, but with actual pre-made ruts and actual pre-made roughness, like something cool like that, you know. I don't know, man. To me, it just seems like that would be badass and a half. You know what I'm saying, boys? Okay, so that's a quad in and then quad out right there, or just backwards versions of the tracks. You know, it's kind of what this is right here to a certain extent. So literally just even having backwards versions. Will it backwards, boys? Riding the track backwards, boys. Taking y'all back here, boys.